So if we now go to Joel, Joel is amazing book, but so misunderstood. But Joel is the book that brings us right back to the prophetic of the restoration. And I love it. I'm going to read from verse 1. The word of the Lord came to Joel, the son of Peniel. Hear this, you old men. Give ear, you inhabitants of the land. Have this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell your children of it. Now he's saying it's not going to happen in your days. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen in the days of your fathers. But tell your children it's coming. And let your children tell their children and their children, another generation. He's talking about generations, but he's talking about another generation. Whenever you read the Bible and prophecies, you must always remember it's overlapping, and you read it like intersecting and overlapping. Now, he says, oh, here it comes. That which the palmer worm have left, the locust have eaten, and that which the locust have the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm have left, have the caterpillar eaten. Awake, you drunkards, and weep and howl, all you drinkers of wine, because of the new wine, for it's cut off from your mouth. Peter refers back to this place where Joel is writing. Joel says there's going to be generations. Tell it, because there's a generation coming. It is not what has been. It's not what is. It is what's coming. And what is coming is the wine is going to be taken away, but there's going to be new wine. So what happened to Peter and them? He says, they are drunk as you suppose, but it's new wine. For a nation come up upon my land, strong and without number, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion, and he has the cheek of a great lion. We are busy with prophetic books. Now in Daniel, we know in the statue, the first kingdom, which was the head of the statue, was Babylon, which was a lion. This statue worked out in the 4 kingdoms of the earth, and it worked right down to the 4th one. 4 is the number of the earth, and the 4th one is Rome. And Rome was a very ferocious animal. But Medo, Persia, Greece, and Rome only did what the head did. It was a lion. So when Jesus was on the cross, it was such a fair match, because it was a high place. Armageddon is a high place. There was the lion from Babylon and the lion out of the tribe of Judah. There was the white horse that Revelation 6 tells us about, that takes away the peace of the earth, which is Babylon, and you can read all about that in Isaiah 14. But Jesus was the white horse of Revelation 19. So in Babylon, when he had his first dream about the statue, Daniel actually addressed Nebuchadnezzar as King of Kings, the worldly kings. Now we have to understand, before the cross, there was no kings. The new generation is kings and priests. Before it was only priests, because Adam gave up his kingship. And since Adam fell, the only thing that Satan wanted to do, he ruled, death ruled, but he inspired people to be kings on the earth. That is why when Abram slaughtered the kings, Melchizedek appeared. God is not interested in worldly kings. Abraham actually slaughtered good and evil kings, but God is not interested in any king in the below realm, because he, Melchizedek, the king of Salem, the king of peace, appeared to Abraham. What? Now, that was actually where the seeds of restoration came, because Adam was a king. So Melchizedek appearing was the beginning of the testimony of Christ, or it's the seed of where restoration is coming. But the old had to now go, and it was a total taking out. Now he's prophesying here in Joel, and he says, your wine is going to be taken away, but there's going to be new wine. And the way the old wine is going is with a lion. And if you read it on, I can't read all of this, but it's like he tells in Joel 1, the total destruction that's going to happen to the old. Verse 12, he says, the vine is dried up, the fig tree languishes, and the pomegranate tree and the palm tree also, and the apple tree. These are all type of anointing trees. When he talks about the fir tree and the cedars, and they are the tall trees, that is the nations. Here he's talking about the whole anointing thing is going to break up. The wine is going to lack because there's new wine coming. And even all the trees of the field are withered because joy withers away. Listen to this, from the sons of men. So these parables are actually pictures of what's happening to humanity, the sons of men. Now he says, gird up yourself, sanctify a day. Then he goes on and he says in verse 15, alas, for the day of the Lord is at hand. As a destruction from the Almighty shall it come. Now please, this is in the concept of where the old is going to be removed. And we know that the day of the Lord is a thief in the night, if you read 1 Thessalonians. But right through the prophets, he talks about this day of vengeance. And he says, it's a day of darkness, it's a day of wrath, and who shall stand? Now, he further goes on, the meat is going to go, the seed, the beasts are groaning of the field. And verse 19, he says, O Lord, to thee will I cry, for the fire hath devoured the pasture. Now, he's actually telling us how this day is going to end. Now, please, this day was also prophesied by Moses in a song to Israel just before he died. And God said, this day of destruction, I've sealed it in my treasuries. Remember when Daniel was in Babylon, he saw the visions, 70 years of 7 unto the Christ, and he had to seal it. But this is also sealed, and God never opened it. When Jesus came, he announced the year of the favor of the Lord. In other words, the new wine. He never announced the day of vengeance. They did it themselves. Now he says, this is the heart soul story of the sons of man. The beasts of the fields cry out, the rivers are dried up, because a fire hath devoured the pastures. So the earth is cursed because of man's sake. And however God wanted to restore man, no, because he planted a vineyard and he worked through this vineyard to bring salvation, but they wouldn't. That is why just before Jesus died, he sat and he looked at Jerusalem and he said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, what more could have been done for you?